When the trillion-dollar U.S. stealth fighters, aircraft carrier battle groups and drilling bombs gathered in the Persian Gulf, but by two Chinese electronic reconnaissance ships without a gun or a bullet was forced into a dilemma. The scales of modern warfare, what forces are quietly prying? In the Strait of Hormuz, in late June 2025, smoke and electromagnetic waves were intertwined and steamed in the hot sea breeze. The USS Ford, USS Carl Vinson, and USS Nimitz carrier strike groups pressed into the Gulf of Oman in a wedge formation, and the B-2 stealth bombers were loading at the Diego Garcia base. A single 13-ton GBU-57 drilling bombs, F-35 aircraft group frequent takeoffs and landings of the roar of the night sky tearing the Gulf, a target of Iran's nuclear facilities and missile bases. Thunder strike seems to have entered the countdown. However, the International Maritime Satellite suddenly locked two silent gray figures, port number 795, Tianquangsing, and 796, Kaiyangsing. The Chinese Navy's most advanced, 815 The Chinese Navy's most advanced 815 electronic reconnaissance ships, with their trademark white spherical radomes, cut into the tactical radius of the American fleet like ghosts. Their presence instantly freezes the countdown to war, dragging a hot war that is ready to start into a cold electronic playing field. These two fully loaded displacement of only 6,000 tons of electronic reconnaissance ship, but at this moment has become a strategic pivot to hold the superpowers. The three white domes of the ships are densely covered with high sensitivity, phased array radar and infrared sensors, and the towed array cinebas are like invisible tentacles probing into the deep sea, constituting a 1,000-kilometer radius electromagnetic skynet. When the two ships in a coordinated mode of operation, the Strait of Hormuz to the Gulf of Oman, every inch of airspace and sea surface are reduced to a transparent testing ground. F-35 radar scattering cross-section, B-2 bomber infrared heat pattern characteristics. SAD, System of Intercept Frequency Parameters. The US military has spent trillions of dollars to build military secrets that are being burned into the data centers of reconnaissance ships. The US military is suddenly caught in an unsolvable Yangmu predicament. If the original plan to attack Iran, all the stealth fighter parameters, chain of command encryption protocols, anti-missile system logic will be exposed. Once these data flow into the opponent's laboratory, the Taiwan Straits game of the US military technological advantage may collapse. If expelled by force, China's reconnaissance ship in the high seas legitimate navigation, the use of force not only violates the US self-proclaimed freedom of navigation principle, more likely to ignite a direct conflict between the United States and China. In the dilemma, Trump's offensive order hard stuck in the throat, the White House suddenly changed its words. Another 2 weeks to assess. Angry at the Israeli Ministry of Defense jumped to his feet. The US military was forced to implement the electronic silence, radar periodic shutdown, non-routine avoidance. Even after the landing of the carrier aircraft do not dare to test the accelerated thrust, resulting in the Patriot missile system due to the delayed response to the accident nearly caused by misfire. Once unbeatable carrier battle group, but in the Persian Gulf under the scorching sun, sailors to the slowly rotating white dome nicknamed a black humor, oriental god of doors. The scout ship's landing was no accident. The Middle East maintains 45% of China's oil lifeline, 3 million barrels of crude oil per day through the Strait of Hormuz, to the port of Ningbo in Zhanjiang. When the Iranian Mudstone missile will Tel Aviv Stock Exchange bombed into ruins, Israel C-130 transport aircraft loaded with drill bombs raid Natanz nuclear facilities. This area of water has become the world's most dangerous barrel of explosives. China's two-ship jam, both guarding the energy lifeline shield, but also to the US military technology hegemony of the electronic scalpel. More far-reaching chess game is that Israel's Arrow 3 anti-missile system and Lavender, a target identification system, is essentially an extension of the US military's Asia-Pacific combat system. While the electromagnetic confrontation in the Persian Gulf is a valuable preview of the potential conflict in the Taiwan Strait, the tactical habits and equipment performance of the US military have been stripped of all disguises. Iran is now reshaping the balance of power in the Middle East with its missile technology. Its hybrid strike tactics, code-named Iron Rain, have demonstrated exquisite calculations. First, the $20,000 Shad 136 drone swarms and electronic decoy bombs are used to consume the Israeli army's air defense resources, and then the Khorramshahr 4 ballistic missiles are fired to carry out a saturation attack. 4 ballistic missiles to carry out saturation attacks, and finally into the terminal speed of 15 Mach, Fata 1, hypersonic missiles to tear open the defense line. This solid fuel missile only 400 seconds from the Iranian mainland to reach this solid-fueled missile can reach Tel Aviv from Iranian soil in 400 seconds, and is equipped with a 1,500 kilogram warhead and a variable nozzle that allows it to maneuver at high speeds in the terminal phase. Economic accounts more chilling to the west. Iranian missiles cost about $3 million per unit, while the U.S. military, SAD, interceptors cost $20 million per round. A saturation attack to intercept 8 missiles, that is, costing $160 million, but may be all off target. This asymmetric consumption forced Israel's daily defense costs exceeded $400 million. Arrow 3 interceptor stockpile is only enough to support 3 weeks. More ironic is that on June the 19th, Iran's 14th wave of raids on Tel Aviv, the successful breakthrough of the U.S. and Israeli anti-missile network, is not the latest weapons, but the 27 years of service of the old Chub-3 liquid-fueled missiles. This round error of 2.5 kilometers of antique, although limited accuracy, but in saturation strikes accidentally penetrated the defense line, the Israeli high-rise, into a dangerous building. This confirms the harsh reality of modern air defense. When thousands of missiles like a tidal wave coming, Iran is estimated to have 1,200 to 1,500 medium-range ballistic missiles in reserve, and another 3,000 of various types of missiles constitute a huge arsenal. Even the most advanced interception system would collapse. Behind Israel's claim of an 80% intercept rate, 20% of missiles still hit their targets, and the small size of the country makes it unaffordable to pay the price of this leakage. The Gulf states are accelerating the introduction of autonomous patrol bombs and drone swarms, and Israel's Lavender Eye system is being investigated by the United Nations for automatically marking and clearing targets, turning the Middle East into a testing ground for algorithmic-driven warfare. The strong presence of Chinese reconnaissance ships at this moment seems to have written the most pungent footnote to this new war. The old rule of relying on the number of aircraft carriers and the tonnage of bombs to determine the winner has gone out of fashion, and the dominance of information is the real strategic high ground. The U.S. military legal team turned over the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea cannot find the basis for expulsion, can only watch. China will be freedom of navigation of the Western script as it is returned. This, let you see but cannot fight, stifled, is forcing the Pentagon to reassess the cost of hegemonic protection. When the war is deconstructed by information technology, military superiority has been so fragile that it cannot withstand a live broadcast. The hot sun of the Persian Gulf is scorching the steel deck, and the dome antenna of the Orient Gatekeeper is still rotating smoothly. 2 warships without missiles are forcing the war machine built with hundreds of billions of dollars to curb its sharpness. Their very existence has become a strategic alarm. When science and technology give weak countries the ability to strip the bottom of the giant, the twilight of traditional military hegemony may accelerate. In this sea shrouded by electromagnetic fog, the rules of the game in the new era are tumbling with the waves, and the first line of the rules is clearly engraved with the one who controls the right to information controls the world. The U.S. military reconfiguration of the Middle East strategy of hundreds of billions of dollars in arms sales agreements, Iran's integration of Eastern technology missile defense system, Israel poured all the resources of the interception network, are proving a truth. The shape of the war has been metamorphosed from the torrent of steel into a torrent of data. The victory or defeat in the missiles in the spectrum of the dark war before the liftoff is doomed. When the conical light column of Fata 1 pierces the night sky, and the white dome of the Chinese reconnaissance ship rotates silently, the world is witnessing not only the upheaval of the chess game in the Middle East, but also the eternal reconstruction of the essence of war.